Good morning and a warm welcome once again to our daily Bible study. We're on day 147. At the moment we're looking at the statutes and laws of Old Israel, and particularly within that category we're looking at laws relating to human behaviour towards God and towards worship. Today we are looking at Deuteronomy chapter 12 verses 1 to 9 about one God and one place of worship. I'll turn you around so you can see the text. Moses spoke these words: "Pay attention to the laws you must obey all the time you live in the country that Yahweh, the God of your forebears, is giving you. In the land you are to occupy, you must demolish all the places where the people worship their gods, high on the mountains, on the hilltops, and under the trees. Pull their altars down and smash their standing stones to pieces. Set fire to the symbols of their goddess Asherah. Chop down their idols. Never shall they be worshipped there again. You must not worship Yahweh your God in the same way these people worship theirs. Yahweh your God is going to choose one place out of all the country to be occupied by your tribes. There the people must come into his presence for worship. That is the one place to offer your burnt sacrifices and all your other sacrifices, tithes, offerings, and gifts promised to Yahweh, your voluntary contributions, and the firstborn of your cattle and sheep. At that one place, in the presence of Yahweh your God who has blessed you, you and your families will eat together and enjoy all the good things for which you have laboured. When that time arrives, you have to stop doing what you are doing now. Up until now, you have been worshipping as you like, because you haven't yet arrived in the country that Yahweh your God is giving to you, where you can live in peace." The struggle in favour of the unique nature of Yahweh and the one exclusive place where Yahweh was to be worshipped originated with the Ark of the Covenant, the box containing God's laws, on top of which a throne had been prepared for God's presence. This box was carried by God's people in all their desert wanderings until they entered the Promised Land. It preceded the people when they crossed the river Jordan, and it was the one place where God was to be worshipped. First, the ark resided at Shiloh, but later, around 1000 BC, King David brought it to Jerusalem, and it was there that David's son Solomon built the first Jerusalem temple, where the ark was kept in an inner sanctum called the Holy of Holies, or the Most Holy Place. The actual ark itself seems to have disappeared. More likely than not, it was destroyed along with its contents when Babylon sacked Jerusalem in 587 BC, although rumours have persisted of its presence to the present day, either in a cave under Mount Zion, or some say in a church in Ethiopia. In the minds of the Jewish people, God's point of presence had transferred from the ark to the temple itself at the time of Solomon. And after the deportations to Babylonia, Ezekiel had a vision of God himself transferring his presence from the temple ruins in Jerusalem to Babylon to be with the exiles. As it happens, sometime before the exile, local gatherings of men to study the law were already happening, and they were not necessarily led by priests. These meetings continued in the exiled community, and sometime after the exile developed into gatherings later called synagogues by Greek-speaking Jews, for the reading of scripture, preaching and prayer, quite separate from any temple. By the time of Jesus, it was in these synagogues now the name of the buildings rather than the meetings that took place in them, that circumcisions, marriages and funerals took place, and where the young were taught the law and welcomed into the community. Early Christians continued this kind of meeting. They called it the synaxis, meaning what we do together. And this eventually became the first half of every Eucharistic celebration. So the concept of the one unique place of worship was first diluted by the people themselves, needing a local meeting for worship and a study centre. And then the unique nature of the temple was made less important still by the rise of the purpose-built synagogue and the creation of a class of learned leaders who were not necessarily priests, the rabbis, to lead the congregation. In Christianity, the concept of a church building in every community as a gathering place for worship and education spread across Europe, reflecting our conviction that God is not located in one place on a throne over a box full of laws carved in stone, but is in fact everywhere. Now tomorrow we shall see how the Deuteronomic scholars described the Passover. I'll see you then.